The village of Lokor lay on the banks of the mighty Niger River, its lifeblood for generations. The river provided fish, water for crops, and a means of trade. Yet now, the once bountiful waters ran low, their flow reduced to a sluggish trickle. The people's spirits were as parched as their land, and desperation hung heavy in the air. Adamu, a skilled fisherman, watched his nets return empty day after day. His wife, Zainab, tried to remain optimistic, but their children's hollow cheeks spoke louder than her soothing words. "The river has always cared for us," she said one night as they sat under the starlit sky. "Perhaps it is testing us." Adamu, however, was not so sure. The river had been their provider, their guardian. It wasn't merely testing them, it was angry. The elders of Lokor decided to seek answers from the village priest, Baba Kofi, who claimed to commune with the spirits of the river. The villagers gathered at his shrine, a humble structure adorned with carvings of fish, turtles, and serpents. The air was thick with incense as Baba Kofi entered a trance-like state, his voice low and guttural. "The spirits are displeased," he intoned, his eyes rolling back. "A great offense has been committed against them. Only a pure offering can restore balance." "What offering?" Adamu asked, stepping forward. "The spirits demand an emissary," Baba Kofi replied. "Someone must journey to the heart of the river and plead for mercy." The crowd murmured in fear. The heart of the river was a forbidden place, shrouded in myth and danger. No one who ventured there ever returned. "I will go," Adamu said, his voice steady. Zainab clutched his arm. "No. There must be another way." "There isn't," Adamu replied, his gaze resolute. "The river has given us everything. I must try to make amends." Adamu prepared for his journey with a heavy heart. He packed a small boat with provisions, charms blessed by Baba Kofi, and a lantern to guide his way. The villagers gathered at dawn to see him off, their faces a mix of hope and sorrow. "May the spirits guide you," Baba Kofi said, handing him a carved talisman. Adamu nodded and pushed his boat into the water. The current was sluggish, and the silence of the river was unsettling. He rowed for hours, the sun beating down on him. As night fell, the river transformed, its surface shimmering like black glass under the moonlight. A soft voice broke the stillness. "Why do you come here, mortal?" Adamu froze, his oar halfway to the water. The voice seemed to emanate from the river itself. Slowly, a figure emerged from the water, a woman with skin the color of moonlight and hair flowing like liquid silver. Her eyes glowed, holding an otherworldly intensity. "I come to seek the river's forgiveness," Adamu said, bowing his head. The spirit regarded him with a mix of curiosity and disdain. "Forgiveness? For what?" "I do not know," Adamu admitted. "But my people suffer, and I will do whatever it takes to make things right." The spirit tilted her head, as though weighing his words. "Follow me," she said, her voice echoing like ripples on water. The spirit led him to a hidden current that pulled his boat toward the heart of the river. The journey grew increasingly surreal. Shadows danced on the water, and the air felt heavy with unseen eyes. Adamu's lantern flickered, casting eerie shapes on the surrounding trees. They arrived at a secluded lagoon, its waters glowing with an ethereal blue light. At its center stood an ancient altar carved from black stone, covered in moss and strange symbols. "The heart of the river," the spirit said. "Here, the spirits convene." Before Adamu could respond, the water around the altar began to churn violently. Figures rose from the depths, their forms shifting between human and aquatic. Some had scales, others webbed hands, and all bore an air of ancient power. "Why have you disturbed us?" one of them demanded, its voice deep and resonant. Adamu knelt, trembling. "Great spirits, I come to beg for your mercy. My village is dying. We have always honored the river, but now it withholds its blessings. Tell me what we have done to offend you." The spirits exchanged glances, their eyes glowing like embers. "You mortals are careless," one of them said, its tone dripping with disdain. "You take without giving. The river is alive, yet you treat it as a mere tool." Another spirit stepped forward. But your plea shows courage and humility. Perhaps there is hope for your kind. What must I do? Adamu asked. The spirits conferred briefly before one spoke again. A sacrifice is required. Not of blood, but of memory. To restore the river, you must surrender your most cherished memory to us. It will be lost to you forever? Adamu's heart sank. He thought of Zainab, of their children's laughter, of the day he had first held his newborn son. I will do it, he said, though the words felt like stones in his mouth. The spirits surrounded him, their hands outstretched. A warm glow enveloped Adamu as they drew the memory from his mind. He felt an ache in his chest, as though a piece of his soul had been torn away. It is done, the spirit said. Return to your village. The river will flow once more. Adamu awoke in his boat, unsure how much time had passed. The lagoon was gone, replaced by the familiar banks of the Niger. He rode back to Locker, his body weak but his spirit lighter. As he approached the village, he heard cries of joy. The river was full once more, its waters teeming with fish. Crops that had withered were beginning to thrive again. Zainab ran to him, tears streaming down her face. Adamu, you've saved us. He smiled, but a hollow feeling lingered in his heart. He couldn't recall why Zainab's face felt both familiar and distant, nor why the sound of children's laughter brought an inexplicable sadness. The river spirits had kept their promise, but their price was steep. Yet Adamu bore his loss silently, knowing that his sacrifice had given life back to his people. From that day on, the villagers of Locker honored the river with greater reverence, offering songs, dances, and gifts at the altar by the water. And though Adamu never regained what he had lost, he found solace in the laughter of the village children and the vibrant life that the river once again provided. The Niger, though mighty and mysterious, had reminded them all of the delicate balance between giving and taking, and the cost of forgetting the sacredness of nature.